My next guest today is in the studio as an up-and-coming Israeli-American artist, gaining notoriety for her own brand of music that fuses pop with the sounds of Africa, the Caribbean, and South America. Bodega, it is an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Wonderful. So what inspired you to become a musician first?
Well, first of all, I grew up in a household that was very artistic. My father is a fine artist, Benjamin Levy. My mother, Hannah Levy, is a musician. And we grew up in a house where there was always music around. I played violin as a young girl. And, you know, I just grew up with a lot of music in the house. We had Yemenite, Sephardic, and Dutch mix of everything.
So a lot of cultures kind of clashing in your living room.
And in New York City on top of it, so you can imagine.
I can. How many instruments do you play now?
Well, I play some guitar, but my real instrument is my voice. That's the main thing, and then I write as well.
So how did you start Bodega World Music then? Yeah,
Bodega World Music came about kind of in a natural way because I was always intrigued and into different cultures of music and sounds, and I was, as a dancer first, I was into hip-hop growing up in New York City, and Latin music, and I studied world arts and cultures at UCLA, so I was kind of involved in that. And then as I started making music, I realized I was really into collaborating with different kinds of styles of music.
Kind of bringing that childhood back up, huh?
Exactly, but in my own way, you know? And so naturally Bodega World Music came up because I was during a time where the industry was changing a lot, and artists started becoming a lot more independent because I was signed with a big label with Blackground Universal Records, but then things kind of changed in the industry, and I decided to just take it into my own hands, and I realized I had my own kind of genre going, and why not just do it myself? You know?
So you mentioned that you're doing a lot of collaborative work. Who are some of the big names that you've been working with?
Well, I recently released a very big song in Africa called Wata, which is featuring Timaya and Young D. Timaya is one of the Afro-pop biggest artists, and he's known all over Africa and the Caribbean. MC Galaxy, which also a song called Fire. He's a very big artist. And I have a new song that we're putting out in the next few weeks called Live Your Life, with a big message. And it has Egyptian, which is a big Jamaican artist on it. MC Galaxy again, and a few other artists, Neil Bajayo, up-and-coming Israeli-American artist, and Neza and Young D and me, and we sing it in all different languages. There's some Hebrew, there's some French, there's some English, there's some African dialects, Jamaican, and because it's all pretty big artists, we're going to be spreading it out worldwide.
I mean, yes, speaking of African languages, I hear that you do a lot of work in Nigeria. What drew you to Nigeria and Nigerian music? Well,
Afropop, the Afropop genre right now is kind of the next big thing that's taking over. And Nigeria is the hub of it. Nigeria is the center of the Afropop music. So whatever sound is coming out of Nigeria with that music is really spreading so fast everywhere in Africa, but not just in Africa now. The US, Europe, and everywhere. Even here in Israel, I hear it. Yeah, they're picking up on it, and kind of like what happened with Caribbean and Jamaican music and with Latin music, how it spread all of a sudden and kind of took over the airwaves. Afropop is the thing now. So that's why I'm over there a lot, yeah.
And then as an Israeli-American artist, what was some of your experiences from that perspective, working in Africa and with all these different cultures? And
yeah, it's very interesting. The two countries I spent most time in Africa was Senegal and Nigeria. And I actually just got a lot of love. I got a lot of love. People, when I say Israel, they actually are like, wow, that's like, it's kind of like a holy land for them too.
Wow.
And I get props for it. I mean, they're just interested in hearing more about it. They're not everyone is that well versed about it, because what they hear in the news is very different from what's really going on here. So I kind of try to let them know that life here is great. It's not just bombs and everything else.
Thankfully.
Yes, and they all want to come out here and check it out.
So when can we get your next album or your next release?
Well, the next release after Wata is Live Your Life, which is in the next. Keep an eye out for it in the next 4 weeks.
Okay.
We're going to be dropping it officially all over, including Israel.
On shelves, on iTunes.
On iTunes, all over online, and YouTube. You'll see a video coming soon, because we're going to be shooting the video in a few different locations. And then the next project that my Bodega World Music is working on is executive producing an album for Maxi Priest. It's an Afro-pop album, even though he's a reggae Jamaican legend.
Right.
And we're putting different artists from Africa on it. So that combined with the foundation that we're working with, it's all kind of coming out together. So that's another project to look out for.
Well,
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear it.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.